anime localization is where localizers, whatever, is where like where English, you know, where you get English translations and voice acting of Japanese or, you know, say Chinese, depending, you know, Mandarin Cantonese or whatever, you know, Filipino, whatever animation products out there. And so what's happened is like recently, you know, in the recent years, right, it's been around about, for me, I've been really looking at it because I watch a lot of different anime. For me, I can notice it because you get used to the way people speak in Japan, the way they react to each other, and the way actually the story is when you know, because all the story is being told, the characters' behavior towards each other. You kind of understand, hey, this is their culture, and you understand if you're watching long enough, you get an idea of the culture, right? And what the whole anime scene's like. You know, like when, you know, when they do something like a pantsu scene, you know, pantsu, which is like, you know, upskirt kind of thing. They're for different age groups, right? They're not for everybody, right? It's not like, you know, let's say it's not Pokemon, right? When you have that scene, you'll never probably find it in Pokemon because it's for a different age and so on. And then the language used is different as well. So I did this video, this is my last one I did on this, and it's recently. So this is a anime called Ayin. Ayin, what's the exact name of it? Ayin number 831, right? So let me just grab it. I will have a look at that soon as well. That way. There we go. Right. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. But so what I want to show you is a very weird little thing with the English translation. Right. So So here they're saying that, you know, he's talking about newspapers and stuff, and they changed the word girl to woman. Right. Very different. So the Japanese translation is woman, but the localizers, English dub, right, American, is calling her a girl. There's a very vast difference in that, right? And how people, you know, how you behave, you know, what you expect, right? You won't treat a woman the same way you treat a little girl, and so on. Look, it's very weird. You know, one of the other things I found, like in recent years, like there was, I think it was Commonwealth. Yeah, it was, yeah, I think it was Golden Commonwealth. It was, you know, it's about that. It's an older thing. It's around about like the turn of the century. I think after like around Russian wars and all that. And one of the, you know, there was like nothing on the screen, like there's no mouse moving, and they changed, like, so when there's no mouse moving on the screen, you could say whatever you wanted, right? I mean, you could say whatever you wanted, but like what I mean is, like, if it's in Japanese at that point, you just do it in Japanese because you don't have to like lip sync it, right? And for those of you guys who don't know, I have done filmmaking, spent 3 years, got a degree in it, and so I understand about you know, lip syncing, making sure the words are right, the translation is right. So when you see nothing, no body, no mouse moving, you go, well, why do they change the script for that? So I found that very weird, and like, you know, and so I've noticed that every now and then because, like I said, I watch anime just about every day because it's my jam, right? It's just something I enjoy. It's my free time. You know, a lot of people play games. I don't play games because I've got hand injuries and I'm not really good at it because my hands don't move, you know, fingers don't move the proper way they should, like normal. Even though my friend's got a one hand, right? He's way better at it and clocks all the games. Yet I'm useless at it, so I don't try to. But I have a PS2, I have an Xbox, and lots of games, but I still don't. But I'm a game collector, right? So here's the response has been. So after a decade or so of American localizers, Western localizers, upsetting fans, English speaking fans, right? Of twisting and putting their own ideology, putting their own gender-based dialogue in, putting their own sort of like, you know, like Western or especially American, because most of them localized are American, like dub voice actors are American, where they change the words for the Japanese meaning. They put American slang in. They don't use a lot, they don't, that's kind of okay to a point. But where they change entire words, like I mentioned earlier on, where they change the word on the screen from like the subtitle being woman to girl, like I said, very, very freaking different, right? And like, and then they changed, they cut scenes out, which makes them like, I think it was like, was it like fire, the one with the fire thing? They had, I watched so many animes, I forget what what the titles are this time. But there was like the firefighters, and it like made the guy out to be a creep. When you watch the entire thing, there's nothing about that. So they do all these weird things with Japanese anime. And so after a while, everybody got tired. Japan's gotten tired. They got tired of getting complaints about the translations being bad, about the dubbing being bad. So now we've got this issue come up, right? So let's have a look at this. So this is from BoundingIntoComics. Give me one sec. So BoundingIntoComics, Spencer Bakuli reports, and this is just, I guess, today, the Ancient Magus Bride manga to start in-house production of English language Simulpubs using combo of AI and human editors. Now, so this is the result on the manga side, right? But it's going to be the same result on the Japanese side. So recently I heard that they're actually getting English-speaking Japanese people to come and voice the language, right? Like the translations in-house. So now they're cutting out the Western translators altogether, right? And, people are saying, oh, AI is great, AI is great. Guess what? Now your jobs are going, right? And so people, and this is in a sense, it's owed to the fact that even in manga, the English translations are bad, right? So you found that, like, if you go online, you find that fans translations are way better than the actual translations that you pay for. Like, you just, let's just use this as an excuse, right? I haven't even actually gotten around to reading this yet, right? But let's just say there's a manga, right? So there's your manga, and the English translations in here are bad, right? Because they put, just like with dubbing, with English dubbing and stuff, subpar, kind of maybe lazy, or maybe they want to push their own thing in, right? And that's the thing. There's a point where now everybody's trying to put themselves into what they're working on. It's not even their it's not even their IP, as we like to say. It's not even their product. It's not even their creation. They're not the author. They're not the artist on it. Somehow, to make it their own, they need to put themselves into it. And how do they do it? If it's manga, or if it's anime, well, they change the language. It's like, this is how I am going to socially engineer people. And I hate that whole thing about socially, forcing people to think like you, by changing things that are, not even yours. And we see a lot of that right now in comics, right? And, and people are turning away. I'm turning away, right? I'm tired of all my, all my characters being swapped out for somebody else, right? They're thinking of, like, right now, Domino being black, right? Why is Domino now black? Right? Because when we've already have amazing black characters, right? We've already got Storm, who's an epic character, right? And stuff like that. It's like, why do you need to swap out that, right? So I get, for me, I find, like, when people do that, it's about themselves. It's about them trying to impose their own self into something that's not even theirs. Like, like manga, like comics, like like anime, something they haven't even created. I mean, like, for me, like, I rather watch a subtitled anime than a voice English dubbed. Even though it's, like, annoying, because, like, you have to, like, concentrate and watch it right there in that time, because you can't go and do something else. You can't multitask, because I like to multitask, right? I like to be working on my comic book while I'm listening and every now and then looking at what's going on, because then I can do two things at the same time. However, you can't do that with subtitles. You've got to watch it, and now so you can't basically multitask, which means your mind for the 22 minutes is right in that screen, which kind of sucks if the words you're hearing is American translations which have been rubbished, like subpar quality. Words are changed. They're trying to like to make people out, they put words of their own in rather than what it is in Japanese. And like, it's like if you start like doing Bollywood, right? You start watching Bollywood on Netflix movies, and suddenly it's like, it's the words mean something else, and you're like, wait, that's not what it means. Unless unless you're used to knowing what those, if you've actually listened to the words, if you understand the language, you won't be able to pick it up. And so a lot of times, because a lot of people who watch anime don't speak the language or haven't watched enough anime to understand that that's not how Japan works, or that's not how they interact with each other, you aren't able to pick it up. But but when you do pick it up, you go, well, this is pretty sad. Why do you do that? Why do you change something that's there? And it's like being dishonest. And that's what I get annoyed about that, right? I kind of like, if I'm reading something, I want it to be what it is that author wrote, what that character is supposed to be like. I don't want that character to behave like something else other than himself or herself, because that kind of like means that it's not that character anymore. And so as a writer, right, I'm always trying to listen to, it's weird if you're not a writer, it's very weird to say like, oh, and try to understand that, like, I let the character do its own thing, I let the character drive it, I let the character tell their story. But if you're not a writer, you don't understand. It's like, if I've got a little girl, I got to make sure she behaves like a little girl. Like if she's 7 or 10 or something, her language, the way she speaks, and the way she treats her mom or dad or her older brother or her little brother is totally different. Because people behave in different ways in different situations, and their relationships are different to each other depending on their age and in the environment they're in. However, if every character you're doing behaves the same way, it becomes boring. It's like you can pick it up. Like, you don't know why, but you can pick it up, right? And you can usually pick up something's wrong. You don't know why. Like for years, I was like, there's something wrong with Batman. I just don't know what's wrong with Batman. I really don't know. Why don't I like Batman anymore? Right? I've been reading Batman for like the last 20 years, and I don't know why I don't like Batman anymore. It was like about 2018 when I realized this isn't Batman anymore. This is somebody else. And then find out it's Tom King. It's friggin' Tom King. Tom King's trying to be Batman here. And I'm like, yeah, I can't handle Batman anymore.